biggie, biggie. It's boning right, biggie. It's boning biggie, 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 biggie. Let's ride, let's ride, let's ride. Get high, get high, get high. Let's ride, let's ride, let's ride, let's ride. Get high, get high. This is a play high five. It's boning biggie, biggie. It's boning right, biggie. It's boning biggie, 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 biggie.
Armed and dangerous, ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, we no angel dust. Label us notorious. Thug ass niggas that love the bus. It's strange to us, y'all niggas be scrambling. Up restaurants with mandolins and violins. We just sitting here trying to win, trying not to sin. How have we lost gin? So much smoke, need oxygen. Steadily counting Benjamins. Niggas should do what you knew, what this game would do to you. Look at all the bullshit since 92. Look at all the bullshit I've been through. So-called beef with you know who. Fuck a few female stars or two. And I'm blue like niggas blue like Mike. Shit, not to be fucked with. Motherfucker better duck quick. Cause me and my dogs love the buck shit. Fuck the luck shit, shit the game. No aspirations to take the game. Spit your game, talk your shit, grab your gat, call your clip, squeeze your clip, hit the right one. Pass that weed, walk it like one. All them niggas I got to fight one. All them hoes I got to like one.
My situation is a tight one. What you gonna do? Fight or run?
Seems to me that you take me, throwing a big nigga down so lean.
I'ma tell you like a nigga told me. Cash is everything around me. Lyrically, just can't see me.
Fuck it, body coke, cook the coke, cut it. Know the bitch before you call yourself loving it. Nigga with a Benz fucking it. Doesn't it seem odd to you? Big come through with mouths and crews. Just fellas down to the moon come through.
Who's the killer? Me or you?
We forgive you, for you know not what you do.
7 a.m. woke in the morning with Henny, caffeine, and green, and nicotine. No dose, so pop a double the dope to the ripper. Nigga, Mr. Clean, nigga, clean. Keeping my top and I do get sentimentally sharing with my instrumentality. And hit it especially for your team in the 45. And D will be in between the scenes. Destroy your dreams, you willing to die. We'll see. How many feet when it comes to see we mean? Mug, mold, trying to be perfect. Disciples with it, survival, tongue of a double sword. Triple, 6 rivals spitting fire. This still good, true bitch. Breaking out for lies, my massage. Better be ready for Armageddon. Shit, 6'5", it's wild. Bless the child. That whatever came of me. Put in positions already played. All that I had to do was stay. Test me now. Contain never else I run. I'm not pretend. Pick up my pen and my hand. Thought I might just step friend. Hey, open the lid, see it for real. We all suited, beg my pardon in the morning. Maybe we ain't marching, we shooting and getting recruiting. There's the football. Every day in the ghetto, we start them up to the way. Get them a bottle of pen and blood. They beat the devil. Keep
To the dance floor, to the dance with a shot of burn. I'm a little bit of that gun, been feeling that urge. Just burn when I broke his fucks and give me that nice verse. Swerve up into my bag.
What up, y'all? What up?
To put in this 12 gauge sound off, get them all off, nigga, y'all lost, nigga, down off, get a nigga count off. But the phone, I love the face, doing and thinking the good, and then the more I'm in the falling in love, and bitch, if you're slipping with fucking them good, that's fucked up. Now let me get done with the crime, gotta go purchase a dime, put in the state to get done with the crime, smoking the reaper to ease my mind, swing some wine, step on the block with the rocks, but really me serving them time and see, get the fuck on down, if it come back talking like in the back, man, run it, tugging with me, killers need us a little bit liquor, but niggas ain't got shit, but it's all on popcorn, so they get pissed on now, who ready to get back, nigga like me, feeling for them green leaves, but I
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to another Atmos Love production. This is your boy Atmos Love. Let me see who up in here rocking with me on this evening. Those of y'all that come in, say hello, and y'all will get a shout out. Riri, what's good? How you doing? Thank you so much for looking out for your bro. I appreciate you. What's going on, Purple Purple? How are you? God bless you. Thanks for coming in. Come in and hit that like button. Come in and hit that like button. Nanya, what up, Nanya? How you doing? Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Who else up in here? Latrice B. What up, Latrice B? How are you? That Nurse 1980, how are you? Everybody else, come on in and say hello. Welcome y'all to another show. Today, we're going to learn some more information. Like I said, because of my awesome moderators and the people that, look out for me, make sure I got the information. We're going to be reading today the motion to dismiss Ethiopia Habtemariam, support of the motion to dismiss against Universal Records, Motown Records, and Sir Lucian Grainge. Okay, West Coast Bells in the building. What up, West Coast Bells? How are you? Thanks for coming in. So, y'all, we're gonna get straight to this. Okay, we're gonna get straight to this. I'm not gonna hold y'all out no more. We about to get straight to this. So, a lot of people have not seen this. I don't think I've seen anybody read this yet. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but this is gonna be. What's up, Sonya Davis? How are you? So let's go ahead and get to this, y'all. Let me minimize this right here. And let me pull this up over here. And let me go back over here. And here we go. Here we go. Let me make sure I'm not in y'all way. I'm going to shrink myself down and put myself right up over here. And what we're going to do, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get into this. So this right here, let me make sure y'all can see it all from the top. This came out, y'all, actually on the 27th. This came out on the 27th, so it's as fresh off the press. This right here is United States District Court, Southern District of New York. Rodney Jones versus Sean P. Diddy Combs, Justin Dior Combs, Ethiopia Habtemariam, Lucian Charles Grainge, Christina Corium. As y'all know, Ethiopia Habtemariam and Christina Corium were his chiefs of staff. They have now switched against him. They are now testifying against him and working with Mr. Rob Jones, which is part of the reason for this dismissal. They came to an agreement that if she worked with him, that he would also drop the charges against Universal Music Group, Motown Records, and Sir Lucian Grainge. So we're going to. This is also against Love Records, Motown Records, Universal Music Group, Combs Global Enterprises, John and Jane Doe's 1 through 10, and ABC Corporations are the defendants. Okay, so we're going to get straight into this, y'all. Ethiopia Habtemariam declare as follows: I have personal knowledge of the facts set forth herein, which are known by me to be true and correct, and if called upon to testify as a witness, I could and would completely testify thereto. Whew. What's up, Masquerade Elegance? How are you? Nice to see you. So y'all see this. She is starting this thing off letting y'all know that if she has to testify, she will. If she has to testify, she will. Okay? What's up, April Showers Network? How are you? All right, it is right here. So this is the worst thing that P. Diddy could have ever. This is the worst thing that could have happened to him. Hey, what Janelle? Hello. Go home and work in time for live. Exactly. Thanks for coming in. You right on time, too. So she says, I began my employment with Universal Music Companies in January 100 devices. What up? January 2003. Becoming employed on the music publishing side of the business by Universal Music Publishing Group, UMPG, in or around February 2014. She says, I was promoted to president of Urban Music. Let me pull myself up here. I was promoted to president of Urban Music, co-head of Creative UMPG. In or around February 2014, I moved over to the recording music side of the business and became the president of Motown Records and executive vice president of Capitol Music. Okay, so y'all, she a beast. This lady right here is a monster in the music industry. Okay, so she knows a lot. Oh, she knows a lot. Okay, so as you can see here, Motown Records is not an independent company, but a record label that is a division of UMG Recordings, Inc., UMG Recordings. In or about March 2021, I became the chairperson and chief executive officer of Motown Records. I left Motown Records and UMG Recordings at the end of November of 2022. So here we go. So the false allegations regarding my presence at Combs Homes, where there were allegedly drugs, underage girls, and sex workers. Contrary to the allegations of the first amended complaint regarding my alleged presence at Mr. Combs' homes in Miami and New York at alleged parties at which underage girls and sex workers were present and being drugged. She says, I have never visited either of those homes, and I have never attended any party at any of Mr. Combs' homes other than a single black tie event in Los Angeles on June 26, 2022, celebrating his Lifetime Achievement Award from BET. The only property of Mr. Combs I have ever visited was in Los Angeles, and as we discussed below, all of my visits preceded the plaintiff's alleged commencement of his work for Mr. Combs and Love Records, Inc. In September of 2022. And I understand that the plaintiff has now abandoned his claims that either I or Mr. Grainge ever visited Combs' homes. So it looks like Sir Grainge and her had worked out something with Rob. Okay, this guy Rod, Lil Rod, whatever they call him, Lil Rod. They worked something out to where he agreed to dismiss the charges against them because she is now working with the government. What's up, Cherie Harris? How are you? It says, I have been in the music industry for nearly 20 years, and in my experience, it is not uncommon for some of the most successful people in the music industry to hold business meetings at their homes. It is also very common for successful artists to have recording studios at their homes where they work on records and conduct-related business. Mr. Combs' Los Angeles property included a home studio and a separate building on the property, and there is where, to my knowledge, Mr. Combs conducted most of his work and business meetings while in Los Angeles. I visited Mr. Combs' property a total of 4 times, and each time was for business purposes. 3 of the times I visited Mr. Combs' property in Los Angeles were all business meetings in connection with the license agreement between Motown Records and Love Records, Inc., and all took place either in the home studio or an outdoor patio. I also visited his property for the party in Mr. Combs' backyard celebrating his Lifetime Achievement Award from BET. My first visit was in spring of 2022, preceding the license agreement. The purpose of this meeting was to listen to Mr. Combs' home studio, to the recording he had already made for his album that Love Records, Inc. intended to release. There was no party involved. My second visit to Mr. Combs' home was within a few weeks after the license agreement was signed on May 4th, 2022. This meeting was an introduction meeting between Motown staff and the Love Records, Inc. Combs Enterprise team over lunch on the outdoor patio. It was purely business. I was there with my team, and we met with Mr. Combs and his team. Again, by his own admission, the plaintiff could not have been there. And there were no underage girls or sex workers. My third visit, as I mentioned above, was for a formal black tie event held outdoors at Mr. Combs' property. Celebrating, thank you so much, Masquerade. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Celebrating the Lifetime Achievement Award from BET that he had received at BET Awards show earlier that day. There were many people in attendance at that event, including high-profile artists and producers. However, the plaintiff would not have been there as it was in late June 2022, and I state without my hesitation, I observed no underage girls, sex workers, or drugs use at the party. My final visit to Mr. Combs' home in Los Angeles occurred in July and August of 2022 timeframe. The purpose of the visit was to discuss the delivery and release schedule for the Love Records, Inc. Album and to have face-to-face conversation with Mr. Combs to make sure that we met our release schedule deadlines. Again, this meeting preceded the plaintiff's own claim start of his work for Mr. Combs and Love Records, Inc., and I observed no underage girls, sex workers, or drug use there. I have no recollection of ever having met Rodney Jones, the plaintiff in this action. As far as I know, he was never present at any of the 4 times I visited Mr. Combs' property in Los Angeles. Indeed, according to the plaintiff's own timeline in his amended complaint, it would have been physically impossible for me to have ever met him at Mr. Combs' house in Los Angeles because my visits there all preceded the commencement of his alleged work for Mr. Combs in September of 2022. Motown enters into a license agreement with Love Records. I am aware that the first amended complaint claims that Motown Records was the parent company of Love Records, Inc., and that the new proposed complaint claims that Motown Records or UMG Records was in general partnership with Love Records, Inc. As of the time I left Motown Records in November of 2022, both of those assertions are completely false. To my knowledge and understanding, Love Records, Inc. was a company owned by Mr. Combs, whether directly or through one of his companies, I do not know. Instead, as I will explain below, Motown Records entered into a license agreement to distribute a single album featuring the performance of Mr. Combs that was to be or had been recorded by Love Records, Inc. This is a commonplace agreement in the music industry. So it says, at some point in spring of 2022, I entered into discussions with Sean Combs and his counsel, Kenny Miselis, about Motown Records potentially entering into a license agreement with Mr. Combs' company, Love Records, Inc., for the right to obtain or distribute a new album featuring Mr. Combs as an artist. To my knowledge, as of that time, Mr. Combs had not recorded as an artist for many years, and this was the first album on Love Records, Inc. I visited Mr. Combs' home studio at or around the time the license agreement was being negotiated. As I recall, Martha Braithwaite, an attorney with UMG Recordings, negotiated the agreement with Mr. Marcellus. To listen to the recording that Mr. Combs had already recorded, it was originally contemplated when Motown Records entered into the license agreement with Love Records, Inc., that Motown Records was going to be licensed for distribution, a nearly completed album, and the advance payment. Some amount of the royalties or profit shares are commonly advanced and recouped from the income generated by recordings, would actually serve to reimburse Love Records, Inc. for the recording cost it had incurred in producing the album. On or about May 4th, 2022, Motown Records and Love Records, Inc. entered into a license agreement. Hereby, Motown Records obtained the right to distribute for a defined period of time a single album that was tentatively titled The Love Album. I understand that a redacted copy of the license agreement is attached to the accompanying declaration of Ms. Braithwaite as Exhibit A thereto. In public statements announcing the license agreement, I am aware that both Motown Records and Love Records, Inc. and Mr. Combs expressed their excitement at partnering with respect to Mr. Combs' forthcoming album. This is a colloquial use of the term partner or partnering. Motown Records and Love Records, Inc. were not partners in any legal sense, but we were going to be working together with respect to the production and distribution of the album under the license agreement. To my knowledge, any assertion that Motown Records or UMG Records was in a general partnership with Love Records, Inc. is false. While I have stated the original contemplation of the license agreement was that Love Records, Inc. would be delivering an album that was substantially completed, at some point thereof, Mr. Combs decided that he wanted to create and record additional tracks. While I was chairperson and CEO of Motown Records, did not financially sponsor or provide security for writers' camps or listening sessions. Okay. So looks like she's trying to get herself out of, they were talking about when they did not have any security that night when the guy got shot in the bathroom. Do y'all remember that? and they were saying that that now they questioning that. So let's see what she's trying to get herself out of the whole thing. Thank you, Purple. I appreciate you. So she's trying to back herself out of that. So let's see what she got to say. An amended complaint makes allegations about the supposed obligation of Motown Records and or UMG Records to provide security at writers' camps and or listening sessions at Mr. Combs' homes, and claims that Motown Records or UMG Recordings sponsored the camps and or listening sessions. While I was the chairperson and CEO of Motown Records, to my knowledge, Motown Records never financially sponsored any so-called writer camps or listening sessions and did not provide or pay for security for Love Records, Inc. I expect that if there were any security, that would have been the obligation of Love Records, Inc., which was running the writers' camp and listening sessions. My understanding is consistent with what is stated in accompanying declaration of Miss Braith. Love Records and not Motown Records or UMG Recordings was responsible for security at any Love Records writing camp or listening sessions. Moreover, as I have said, the only listening session I have ever attended at Mr. Combs' Los Angeles property, the only one I ever visited, was before the license agreement was entered into in order to listen to the recordings that he had already made in his home studio. I do not know if there was any security at Mr. Combs' home, but if there were, my understanding is that he or one of his companies would have been responsible for it, not Motown Records. So she is trying to get Motown out of the way. She's trying to get Universal out of the way and trying to get herself out of the way to clear the way for them to get themselves away from these allegations so that they can do whatever they said they was going to do with old boy Rob. Okay? Says, with respect to the writers' camp at Charlotte Studios in September of 2021, I did briefly visit the studio to hear some of the new tracks that had been recorded or were in the process of being recorded. I have no recollection of meeting the plaintiff at Charlotte Studios, where there were a number of different rooms. That it may be that the plaintiff was in a different area that I was in, if he was there at all. Regardless of the time that I was at Charlotte Studios, there was no shooting inside or nearby. Oh, wow. Okay. I did make and am not aware, I did not make and am not aware of any cash payments being made to Love Records, Inc. or Mr. Combs by Motown Records or UMG Recordings. What's up, Miss Carla? How you doing? Thanks for coming over. In addition to accusing me of engaging in a criminal racketeering enterprise, which is categorically untrue, the first amended complaint accused me and Lucian Grainge and Motown Records and UMG, Universal Music Group Recordings, of having participated in, aiding and abetting, and helped to conceal alleged sex trafficking by Mr. Combs and his colleagues. These are vile and deeply upsetting accusations and are completely untrue. As I understand it, the foundational basis for these claims in the first amended complaint, and they have no basis in fact, are the false assertions that Motown Records was the parent company of Love Records, Inc., and that Lucian Grainge and I both attended listening parties at various of Mr. Combs' homes at which such alleged sex trafficking occurred. I never attended any such listening party, and Motown Records was not the party company of Love Records. I am not aware of Lucian Grainge ever visiting any of Mr. Combs' homes. I understand that in a proposed new complaint, the plaintiff has now abandoned every one of those allegations. As I understand the allegations in the first amended complaint, it also claims that Lucian Grainge, Motown Records, and Universal Music Group Recording delivered cash to Mr. Combs, allegedly millions of dollars, and concealed this alleged delivery of cash by failing to file required tax forms. Again, I understand that this allegation has also been abandoned in the new proposed complaint. I never gave cash to any of Mr. Combs never gave cash to Mr. Combs or Love Records, Inc., and I am not aware of any cash ever being provided to Mr. Combs of Love Records or anyone else associated with Mr. Combs. By Lucian Grainge, Motown Records, or Universal Music Group recording group, Universal Music Group Recordings. While I was employed by Motown Records, to my knowledge, under the license agreement, there was a provision for the payment or reimbursement of certain recording costs and other legitimate expenses of Love Records that were invoiced. I have no reason to believe that Mr. Combs could or did misuse any of the monies. You said, did she just respond? I'm about to see. Let me see. Motown Recordings was required to pay Love Records Inc. under the license agreement. Mr. Blackburn's proffer to let me out of this case if I give him a declaration presenting a false narrative. Mr. Blackburn's proffer. Mr. Blackburn is Mr. Rod's lawyer. So I guess they're going to let her out if she agrees to give him a declaration presenting a false narrative. Being falsely accused of criminal conduct is deeply upsetting to me. I did no wrong. I never saw or participated in any alleged racketeering enterprise, and I never saw, aided or abetted or tried to conceal any such trafficking activity. I did not distribute cash to Mr. Combs or anyone else. In short, there is no basis or any of the claims asserted against me, and I should never have been named as a defendant in this lawsuit. At the filing of the amended complaint, Mr. Jones' counsel, Tyrone Blackburn, approached me and proposed to dismiss me from this case if I would provide a declaration. He sent over a proposed declaration to my personal counsel, but the declaration he presented was materially false, and I would not and could not sign it. Ooh. My counsel provided a revised declaration that addressed the topics that Mr. Blackburn addressed and corrected his false narrative. I am aware that Mr. Blackburn found my truthful version to be unsatisfactory to him, and he presented yet another version that again presented a false narrative. My counsel again provided Mr. Blackburn with the revised version of the declaration, which again he tried to correct his false narrative. Ooh, this is interesting, y'all. As can be seen from the declaration itself, which is less than 2 pages, it summarizes my employment history with UMG Recordings and Motown Records. It notes Motown's license agreement with Love Records Inc. and goes on to confirm that I have no knowledge supporting Jones' claim that Motown or Universal Music Group sponsored listening parties or writers' camps, or that Motown or UMG made cash payments to Mr. Combs or Love Records. I provided the declaration through my personal counsel to Mr. Blackburn. Shortly thereafter, Jones filed a dismissal of the case as against me as a defendant. I am informed and believe that Mr. Blackburn falsely represented to various social media sites and other media outlets that I agreed to testify against Mr. Combs. Whoa! Whoa! Wow! Wow! This is completely untrue. What's up, Miss Melanin Poppin'? What's good? This is completely untrue. I have no personal knowledge of any alleged wrongdoing by Mr. Combs, and there is nothing I could testify to that would be against his interests. I have never indicated in the declaration or otherwise that I have any intention of testifying against Mr. Combs or otherwise testifying on behalf of the plaintiff. I declare under penalty. See? Ooh, wow. I declare under penalty of perjury under the law of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. Miss Ethiopia, Habtemariam. Y'all, we may have to hold back. and wait till everything come out. Like Miss Carla said, we gotta wait. We gotta wait and see how this thing come out, y'all. But this right here, this tells a lot. Now, his lawyer did put out there that she was both, or that she said one of them were going to testify against R. Kelly. That's a big this is crazy. So as far as she goes, she's saying she's not testifying against. I'm not R. Kelly. Damn. As far as she goes, she's not testifying against Puff Daddy. Chanel Lewis said, "I bet she does testify dealing with the federal government." Chanel Lewis, things could change. I want to know what y'all think about this. This whole time, we have been sitting here looking at all the blogs and the vlogs and the hip hop this and the hip hop that and this news and that news and viral access this and that. And the lady got right here in her doggone response that she had nothing to do with it. She only been to P. Diddy house 4 times. Each and every time was on business or a part of her licensing agreement to go out there to listen to some music. And that's all she said she did. She said that they attempted to on multiple occasions to give her a false narrative report that she declined to agree with. This is crazy, y'all. We definitely need to, especially after reading this right here, we may need to hold our judgment. Don't rush the judgment yet. Don't rush the judgment yet. Because something like this, if she has, which I'm sure her counsel does have, those responses from his lawyers that she's saying is blatantly and utterly false. What's up, Dre? That she's saying is blatantly and utterly false. Those things can be used against them in court, against his lawyers, y'all. We might need to, for real, just kind of wait and see what's going to happen before we totally jump to conclusion and say he guilty. I know it looks damning. I know it does. I know it looks horrible. I know it sounds horrible. I know you got so many people that are saying he's guilty. But we may need to kind of just say, you know what? This right here don't look like what we've been reading the last couple of days. It don't line up. Make it make sense. This right here was supposed to give us information, according to his lawyers, that was going to just set the whole damn YouTube world on fire. That his chief of staff is going to be testifying against him. This is not what this is. This is totally the opposite. Totally. Yep. Lenny Beeson said, I just put the emergency brakes on. So did I. I just put the emergency brakes on too. We can't rush the judgment, y'all. We may need to kind of sit back a little bit and wait till everything come out. Let's sit back and wait till everything come out. Okay? I think that would be the smartest thing for us to do. Let us gather all the information, listen to what's going on, read the damn paperwork, because as we read the paperwork, what they saying in the media about his chief of staff trading on him is a damn lie. And we got people around here doing all these videos and everything. Oh my God, she flipping on him and that. No, she not. No, she not. In this case, that's the truth is, this part right here may not be true, but there's some other things he may be guilty of, and that may be the things that they get him on. But when it comes to this right here, no, that's not true. Let me see what Riri said. Hold on, let me go up here. Chanel Lewis says, I don't think he did the sex trafficking, but those parties. Oh, he definitely did the parties. But oh, this is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. So why? Here's my question though. Why, if she told his lawyers, I didn't do this and your client is lying, why is he agreeing to dismiss the charges against him, this Grainge dude, Motown, and Universal Records if it's true? Why did Lil Rod agree to dismiss the charges against them if it's true? This lady right here has not agreed to anything, not even an inkling of anything that he said was true. Says she ain't even never met the man. Let me read y'all comments. Dre said, I think it's crazy how people are going off a civil lawsuit that has not even been facts, Dre. Facts. I agree with you. The thing about it is it's so you're right. There are some bloggers that are just going crazy and already condemned the damn man. Let the facts come out. And this is, like you said, right now it's civil. Until they do it criminally, we have to just, accept it where it is. Riri said Ethiopia isn't his chief of staff. Christina Corman is chief of staff. Ethiopia is a record executive. Well, they actually had her as his chief of staff also. He has 2 chiefs of staff, Riri. That's what we read yesterday or the other day. It's on my video that she's one of his chief. He has 2 chiefs of staff. Ethiopia, and the other one. That was in the letter from his lawyer, from Rod's lawyer. So he could have been lying. Okay. Let's see. Carla said he may be guilty of some things, but taking this route with all these salacious allegations could sabotage the real investigation. That's true. It was incorrect on his lawsuit. Okay, it was incorrect. Okay. So y'all listen. This is what I'm gonna say. Let us pump the brakes just a little bit. Tap them. Like don't go full speed ahead right now. Just kind of move up a little bit. Stop. Look and see. What was wrong? Ethiopia isn't his. That was wrong. Ethiopia isn't his chief of staff. Okay, that was wrong. That's cool. What it do, Sir Miguel? What's up, bro? Just in here trying to break this thing down. I'm telling these folks, Sir Miguel, we may need to pump our brakes on convicting Puff Daddy. He hasn't even been charged criminally yet, right? So we don't know what the government has, what was in those boxes, what they found, what they didn't find, all that kind of stuff. But looking at this right here, y'all, she's not me testifying against him. Looking at this right here, so y'all can call her a record exec or whatever y'all want to say. Well, that's what she is. But she said she's not testifying against him. She said she never saw any young girls over there. She never saw no sex trafficking. She didn't see any of that. Hey. Okay. All right. So I'm going to play this right quick, y'all. I'm going to play this right quick. I was just sent this, so we're going to check this out right quick. Hold on. So I got something to say that this is how they're going to get his ass. So let's see. Let's see how they going to get him. Here we go. Okay. Let's go.
Sean Diddy Combs can't seem to escape the spotlight right now, and the federal investigation into any connections to an alleged sex trafficking operation is creating comparisons to other infamous figures like Jeffrey Epstein and R. Kelly. Nadia Shihata was the prosecutor who helped put R. Kelly behind bars for decades. She joins us to talk about the investigation into Combs, what could come next, and the comparisons to that infamous R. Kelly case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Sean Combs, known by many as Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, and I think there's probably more names, could soon face arrest. This comes after raids were conducted on Diddy's homes in LA and Miami by Homeland Security. It's been reported that this is pursuant to an ongoing investigation from the Southern District of New York. Now, it's been reported that this is concerning human trafficking. Human trafficking, generally speaking, is when you exploiting somebody for labor or services or commercial sex. More specifically, if we're talking about sex trafficking, it's the recruiting, the transporting, the soliciting someone for the purposes of commercial sex acts. And it's usually through the use of force or fraud or coercion. The person is a minor under 18 years old. Now, we have been following all of the updates very closely here on Sidebar when it comes to the Diddy case. And so far, the details about the search and the investigation are pretty bare bones. As of now, it's reported that the agents removed items like electronics and firearms. Sources say the focus of the investigation is, again, we still believe it could be connected to human trafficking. It could be connected to narcotics or firearms. I will tell you, though, Combs' attorney, Aaron Dyer, released a statement after these raids saying in part, quote, "There was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits." Now, I should be clear, Combs has never been arrested or criminally charged in connection with any sort of trafficking or abuse. But of course, this comes on the heels of major lawsuits that were filed against the music mogul, with the bombshell filing from Combs' ex-girlfriend and Bad Boy Entertainment recording artist Cassie Ventura. That was the one that possibly blew up everything wide open, because Ventura alleged that Combs physically and sexually abused her, including forcing her into sexual slavery and sex trafficking. Some of the more alarming allegations in the federal lawsuit included Combs allegedly raping Ventura in her home after she tried to leave him, savagely beating her, resulting in bruises and burst lips, forcing her to have sex with prostitutes on video while he...
All right, let me interject really quick. I want to see what y'all are saying here in the chat. So, Sir Miguel said that he is presumed innocent until proven guilty, not public opinion. Completely true. A little bit of caller said, I agree with that, Sir Miguel, and just because they want him on some other serious criminal activity doesn't make it right for them to try to use the human trafficking playbook to go after him. Okay. Riri said HSI had to have proof or enough evidence to have a judge issue a warrant. There you go. Here we go.
Watched and pleasured himself, forced her to carry a gun for him, tried to chase down music producer Suge Knight with a gun, and she also alleges that he blew up rapper Kid Cudi's car because he found out that Cudi was interested in Ventura. Now, Combs settled that lawsuit one day after it was filed, but then we saw more lawsuits coming out. In fact, there was another lawsuit that was filed by producer Little Rodney Jones, and it was not long after Cassie's, and it accuses Combs of sexual abuse and harassment, violations of the human trafficking statute, gun and drug possession, being involved in shootings, having parties with sex workers and underage girls, and it goes on and on and on. I'll also highlight that. It even says Cuba Gooding Jr. sexually assaulted him on Diddy's yacht. Now, actually, the man that Jones called out in this lawsuit for being Combs's drug mule, the man that allegedly supplied drugs and weapons to Combs, he was actually arrested the same day the raids happened. His name's Brendan Paul, was arrested by Miami-Dade police at the airport on Monday, and police body cam video shows him being loaded into a patrol car. Now, since the news of these raids, comparisons have been made between Combs and Robert Kelly, more often known as R. Kelly. Both highly successful music artists, rose to fame in the 1990s. They even did a song together called Satisfy You. And accusations of misconduct and illicit activity with underage girls, they dogged R. Kelly for years, with one of the earliest civil lawsuits being filed in 1996, when a woman stated that when she was 15 years old, R. Kelly, who was 24, not only had sex with her, but also encouraged her to bring her young friends to see him. And of course, Kelly's relationship with R&B sensation Aaliyah has long been scrutinized. Kelly married Aaliyah when she was 15. He was 27. After allegedly having sexual contact with her for years leading up to the marriage, it was ultimately annulled. And we know that in the end, Kelly was convicted. He was convicted of child pornography, racketeering, and yes, sex trafficking charges in 2 states, multiple cases, sentenced to 31 years in prison. Well, with that in mind, I am joined by Nadia Shihata. She is one of the New York prosecutors on the R. Kelly case, one of the people who helped put him away. She is now a criminal defense attorney. Nadia, so good to have you on here, Sidebar. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
What is your reaction to the...
All right, before we get into this, I gotta highlight some of y'all comments because y'all are making a lot of sense. So Riri said, Dree, Carisha is now trying to deny being paid at all, saying that the internet made it up when it actually came out of her mouth. She was bragging about Diddy giving her, I believe it was $200,000. 100, I think you on to something. That mule just may cause him a problem. Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all this. The white boy, that may be the nail in the coffin. That white boy starts singing and he start talking, that's going to be a problem. Dree said, yes, Riri, she definitely said it before. I feel like it was on Breakfast Club and DJ Envy and Charlamagne. Riri said, we only have 16 likes out of 32. Atmos has been working hard. Yeah, I've been working hard, y'all. Hit that like button for your bro. I would appreciate it. That was a strategic move. Okay, 100 said that was strategic. Carla said, I believe Carisha is being paid. I don't know why she would try that when it can easily be traced. Let's continue, y'all.
Diddy case, the Diddy raids.
Well, I think it's a significant development in the case. Obviously, he's presumed innocent. No charges have been filed against him. But when you take a step like executing search warrants so publicly at 2 different locations, it means you have amassed significant evidence. You've got probable cause to believe a crime has been committed, which is the same standard for arrest. So it's significant. Now, obviously, as a federal prosecutor, you want to make sure you have proof beyond a reasonable doubt when you charge a case. So they're continuing to investigate, but it's certainly a significant step.
I am starting to believe, first I was saying maybe it's surprising that they didn't have arrests in conjunction with the raid or an indictment in conjunction with the raid. And then I started thinking, well, they obviously had probable cause. Perhaps they were
Sometimes the only thing more difficult than running a business
speaking with people, but they needed more evidence on those properties, perhaps before there was an allegation, maybe before it was destroyed. They want to preserve it. They want to get that evidence. They might be issuing subpoenas to people. I think that now I'm wondering if we may not see potential criminal charges for a while, because it also might have to be submitted to a grand jury too, right? So we shouldn't expect perhaps charges against Diddy maybe for a little bit.
Absolutely. Look, if they're following kind of the playbook we used in R. Kelly and pursuing similar charges as we did in that case, these types of cases, take a little bit of time to investigate and to make sure you're corroborating all the victim testimony you're getting. You want phone records, you want travel records. There's all sorts of corroboration that you're sending out subpoenas for, that you're speaking to people about, and then also conducting searches to help with that.
What did you think of the criticism from Diddy's lawyer that this was an excessive military-style use of force? What's your take on that?
Look, it did appear that there were some kind of military vehicles used. As prosecutors, you're not kind of calling the shots on how agents operationally conduct a search. My guess is giving them the benefit of the doubt that, there were allegations that there were firearms in the property. It's a very large property, and Diddy likely had security with firearms. So they have to secure the location and they have to ensure the safety of everyone conducting the search. So,
Let me ask y'all, do y'all think that was a little bit too much, bringing out the doggone military armored Humvees and all that kind of stuff? House of the Princess, what up? Do y'all agree that was a little bit too much? If y'all think that was a little bit too much, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't think it was a little bit too much, or you think it was sufficient, put a 2 in the chat. Okay? Let me read a couple of y'all comments. I laugh at that picture, how they got people taking pictures. Yeah, that's crazy. Riri said a little bit, she better file an amendment to her taxes. Okay. Sure, Dre. They said I don't work jobs. Bitch, I am a job. Pay me for an illicit activity and another illicit activity. Oh boy. Okay, so y'all saying it was too much. Okay, Lenny said it was a little bit too much. Riri said it was a little bit too much. No, not a nope. He is known to have firepower. One saying it. No, number one, if you thought it was too much, if that was way too much, if you don't think it was way too much, then put a 2. If you thought it was way too much, put a 1 in the chat. Little bit said, I agree, Riri. She better amend quick. All right, let's continue.
Sometimes they err on the side of using as much firepower as
What's up,
possible
Angela
in the
Anderson?
circumstances.
Yeah, especially given the allegations and the lawsuits, which makes me wonder.
Shout out to Crime and Law, Law and Crime
Do you
sidebar.
think the people who are accusing Diddy of wrongdoing are the ones
This is for
who might be
entertainment
cooperating
purposes, fair
witnesses
use.
and what set this ball rolling?
This video is for
I think it's very
entertainment
possible
purposes and
that
fair use.
the public filing of that first lawsuit came to the attention of federal agents and prosecutors and may have sparked this. And then obviously the follow-on lawsuits, once that first lawsuit was public, have only added to the allegations. And as a prosecutor, you might start with the people who have made allegations publicly in a lawsuit, but I don't think they're going to stop there by any means. That's just the beginning. And then you're investigating, you're talking to more people. Other victims may be coming forward who have not been public at all now that they're seeing that this is a serious investigation. So it's a starting point.
So obviously this is very serious subject matter that we're dealing with right now, but I do want to take a detour for a quick second. Look, you guys should know how much we love producing these videos for you, telling these stories. And the truth is, we're really able to do this because of the support that we get from our awesome sponsors.
Thank y'all for hitting that like button. Y'all on point. I appreciate it.
Sheath Underwear. I'm excited to talk about them because Sheath makes some of the most comfortable
everything here is alleged.
So today's the day. I've got my
everything
RTA
here
mock
is
system
alleged.
and
Allegedly.
Coyote
Okay.
Now, it is incredibly soft. It's not too tight, not too loose. It has this stretchy fabric.
Gosh.
It's amazing.
Oh, they're advertising underwear
always a
right now,
battle
y'all.
And finding great underwear, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't think
By the
it was
way,
too much.
Summer, right around the corner, Sheath has this moisture wicking technology. Keeps you staying cool. And it's also great for when you're working out, getting hot, just makes you feel comfortable. And they are always improving their products because now
All right,
they
hold
have new
on. I don't care about your
Sheath
underwear.
underwear establishing of what they're being told is real. But what do you think they're looking for specifically if they are moving forward in a sex trafficking investigation?
They're looking for anything that is corroborating information that has been given to them by live witnesses and victims. So, I mean, it's been reported they were looking for electronic devices. Sure, they're going to be looking for videos potentially of sexual activity engaged in with complaining victims, but they're also going to be looking for communications, particularly.
Dang, hold up.
Being told is real.
Am I tripping, or did they like
made
bust through his gate?
For example, the allegations about forcing individuals.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on, I'm tripping.
Charges. I think they're going to be.
Look at his gate. Did they really ram through his gate? Look at his gate. It's off the hinges right here. Y'all see this gate right here? Did they really bust through that man gate like that? That's crazy. Tripping.
Looking particularly for communications between Diddy and his inner circle, his inner network of people that may have helped or facilitated or enabled him to commit potential criminal activity.
Now, the reason I was so excited to talk to you about this is because you were part of a very infamous prosecution of a very infamous individual. Do you see similarities between the Combs case? Let me rephrase. Combs hasn't been charged, but do you see similarities if we're talking about potential sex trafficking charges? You know what the allegations are right now against Mr. Combs. Do you see similarities between him and R. Kelly?
Look, every case is different, obviously, but there do appear to be some similarities based on the public allegations that have been made. For example, the allegations about forcing individuals to have sex with others for the pleasure of Diddy in this circumstance. There were similar allegations with R. Kelly, and that he recorded that activity. So it's a pretty striking similarity in that sense.
But also the level of influence and power, right? I mean, a big part of it when I'm reading the lawsuits is just, you surround yourself with this team, you have tremendous wealth, access, this lifestyle. It was eerily reminiscent of what we were hearing.
You know what? Let me ask y'all that question here in the chat. Do you all personally see similarities between the R. Kelly situation and this one? If you do, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't, put a 2 in the chat. If you also see similarities like Miss Shahada does, put a 1 in the chat if you say yes, it's similar. Put a 2 in the chat if you disagree. Let's go.
Hearing from Kelly, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when you reach a certain level of fame and you've got a group of people around you that are literally there to help you with whatever whim you have, legal or illegal, and are getting paid to do so, and are, more than happy to turn a blind eye to whatever else may be going on. That's a very big similarity. Again, these are just allegations at this point against Mr. Combs, but yes.
And yeah, he hasn't been criminally charged. So when his lawyer says there's been no criminal liability, no civil liability, he's exactly right. Those lawsuits are still pending. The lawsuit with Cassie Ventura was settled. At the time of this recording, Sean Combs has not been criminally charged in any way. Want to make that clear. But I always thought it was interesting when you think about how the Kelly criminal prosecution began, how it started. It wasn't. Would you say it was from the documentary that was released that kind of got the ball rolling? Because again, you wonder, what is the thing that gets going? With Harvey Weinstein, it was that New York Times article. With R. Kelly, it was a really damaging documentary. Maybe that was what you could say started the ball rolling. Here with Combs, maybe it was these lawsuits. I find it so interesting, the similarities with what begins a criminal investigation.
Yeah, look, in R. Kelly, there's no doubt that the documentary and the public airing of allegations certainly came to the attention of law enforcement, and we began looking into it. But again,
whoa, oh, she just admitted it. Wow. Oh boy, I know that's gonna agitate them R. Kelly supporters right there. So the whole time that documentary really did kick it off. Wow. She just said it. The documentary brought attention to the public, which made them really start looking at this situation. Damn. I said last time, if it wasn't for that documentary, I don't think R. Kelly would be in jail. This is my opinion. Let's go.
And in all of these cases, that's just the starting point. To bring a federal criminal prosecution, you really have to amass credible evidence that you can prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. But the public airing of such information against well-known people, that does get investigations started. There's no doubt about that.
What was it like prosecuting R. Kelly?
We tried to, as best we could, approach it as we would any other important case that we prosecuted.
That's
Obviously,
true, Lenny
there
Benson.
was a lot of media attention to it, and R. Kelly fans. I would say the biggest thing that could have potentially affected the case was a lot of our victims received a lot of harassment on social media and so forth, and that takes a toll on people and certainly makes them hesitant to want to move forward with a case.
When you were first prosecuting him, did you see a lot of people coming to R. Kelly's defense? Because
she just called y'all out. Shahida just called y'all out for harassing the doggone victims. She just called y'all out. Man.
This time, I don't know if I'm seeing that so much with Diddy. Actually, what we're seeing is a lot of videos coming out from years ago that are looked at in a different context. You see high-profile celebrities who are making these comments, these innuendos about him. I don't see a ton of defense for Diddy. When you were first going after Kelly, I mean, was there a ton of? Were you yourself receiving any backlash, any threats? Was there a lot of support for him?
It wasn't support from kind of public, well-known figures, but he had a lot of kind of just regular fan support that would post on social media, YouTube channels, send.
Oh, she got y'all again. R. Kelly sector. Damn. Woo! Y'all know who y'all are. I ain't gonna put y'all out there. Y'all know who y'all are for sure. Man, damn. If y'all thought they weren't watching y'all, she just said it right here. She is watching y'all. Y'all some crazy ass fans. Here we go.
Emails mostly to victims, not to the prosecutors, but we did receive, some of our own kind of threats and such.
That's so disappointing to hear. So if this is a case,
what's up, Hammer Time?
Diddy is ultimately arrested, ultimately charged, federal prosecutors. What advice would you give them prosecuting a well-known figure like Diddy?
I would tell them put their heads down and pursue it as they would any other case. Try to block out all the noise and just build your case step by step, put all the pieces of the puzzle together. And, if it's this...
Piles of paperwork and no time for strategic HR? Let Bob clear up your to-do list. Say hi.
It's reportedly the Southern District of New York. Those are very good prosecutors, and that's what I would expect them to do.
And how do you prove it? What do you have to show in a sex trafficking related case? What do you have to prove to make that conviction?
Yeah, so it depends exactly how they're pursuing this. If they do it through a RICO, which I suspect they're probably looking into.
Uh-oh! Here come the Rico! Here come the Rico! Oh no! Y'all, if that Rico come down, ooh-wee. It's not looking good. Y'all know that this is the prosecutor who prosecuted and got R. Kelly put in prison, right? So if you don't think that they're communicating and all that kind of stuff, and they looking at the blueprint on how they took down R. Kelly, here we go.
We're going to need to show an enterprise, so an inner circle, a group that helps him facilitate a pattern of criminal activity. And then that pattern can include things like forced labor or sex trafficking. The sex trafficking here could be, transporting people via his private plane or otherwise to commit commercial sex. And commercial sex doesn't necessarily have to mean, paying money, but also receiving anything of value. So he's making videos of this activity. That could be a thing of value as well. So, and using force or fraud or coercion to do that. And so abusing victims, putting them in humiliating situations.
I know.
That can all be part of that.
I know.
Or promising them money or something of value and then not delivering it. That would classify it as well.
Yes. Mhm.
Right. Okay. So, and what would be the challenges that prosecutors would face? Legal challenges. How would someone in Diddy's position, or if someone was arrested, someone else in connection with this, how do they defend it? What kind of arguments would you expect from the defense that you would have to fight back on?
Yeah, if they pursue RICO charges, I imagine a defense would be that there was no criminal enterprise, that this, to the extent there was criminal activity, this was one person acting alone. And if it's not RICO, a lot of it would potentially fall outside of the statute of limitations. So the advantage of RICO is it lets you go kind of decades potentially in the past, and also it expands venue. So you can charge criminal activity that occurred not just in the Southern District of New York, but throughout the country. If that's taken away, that would be a big hit to.
Y'all just heard it. Y'all just heard it. If they put that RICO out there, I hate to say it, but he may be allegedly done. If they put that RICO in there, and you just heard, I believe her name is Maria Shahada, say that they can go back decades and get them.
The scope of any criminal indictment.
Let's talk about RICO in 1 second, because I have something interesting to ask you about that with respect to R. Kelly. Before we get to that, there is the idea that the whole week began. Is Diddy here? Is he in another country? Would he have to be extradited? I don't believe he's in another country. If you ask me, I think he's here. But having said that, let's say hypothetically he was in another country. What would be some ways prosecutors could go to legally get him back here for a prosecution, or maybe, put some pressure on him, would it be putting pressure on his family members, associates, charging them? Would it be any seizing bank accounts, freezing bank accounts, any way to get a criminal defendant from one country back here, whether it's extradition or some other process?
Yeah, so the most common way would be extradition. You'd need an arrest warrant for that, and he'd need to be in a country that would extradite him, that has an extradition treaty. Otherwise, there are other mechanisms. Sometimes in investigations, what's known as a lure is used. So, there may be a false pretense to get him to come back to the country.
Recordings just got better.
Do you hear what she said? A false pretense.
So excited to announce that.
Lure him back.
Or to get him into another country where there is an extradition treaty. Those types of things have been used. It's a little more difficult when the investigation is as public as it is now. But also if he's actually charged, then, they might also take steps to start seizing assets as well. They would probably have a basis to do that.
Interesting. All right. So I mentioned the RICO aspect of it because I wanted to end the conversation going back to R. Kelly. I wanted to ask you about R. Kelly's latest appeal. Just a couple of weeks ago, his attorneys went before the Second Circuit Court of Appeals in Manhattan, argued that using the RICO statute, usually we've seen it for organized crime like gangs, they say to prosecute Kelly through the RICO statute, that was unfair. The argument was that would mean that any kind of group, college fraternities, could be deemed a racketeering organization under that argument, under that view. What do you make of their argument?
Yeah, I actually went and watched the argument. I think the Second Circuit viewed it with skepticism, as do I. I mean, the law is really clear. You can have completely legitimate organizations that are a RICO enterprise. Labor unions have faced RICO charges. A corporation can even be an enterprise under RICO. So you don't have to be an illegitimate organization or group or association to form that part of the enterprise. The next question is that enterprise or organization used to commit a pattern of racketeering activity? And is that pattern connected to the enterprise? That's where you get to the kind of criminality aspect to it. And I think that was proven in the R. Kelly case.
Nadia, before I let you go, you just reminded me of something, and I wanted to ask you about it. Do you think that they are going to subpoena J-Lo, Justin Bieber, Usher, these high-profile celebrities? Do you think it's, and I'll ask you that, and do you think they may work out deals with other people, perhaps high-profile individuals, to testify against Diddy? Again, he hasn't been charged with anything. I want to make that clear, but I'm talking hypothetically an investigation. Are those two realistic possibilities?
I think prosecutors will talk to anyone they think has relevant information. Now, that doesn't mean they'll start with a subpoena. It usually starts with a reach out to see if someone will voluntarily speak to you. If that doesn't work and the prosecutors and agents think that the person really has relevant information, then their status as a celebrity is not going to stop them from getting subpoenaed and potentially having to testify.
Can you imagine that? All right. Nadia Shihata, thank you so much for coming on. Great work, by the way. You did put on a terrific case, and you put a really, really, I think there's the only word to describe it as a monster behind bars. So great work. Thank you so much for coming on, and appreciate your insight.
Thank you for having me.
And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much.
Well, for those of y'all that wanted to know how they was going to get them, that may be your answer right there. That may be your answer. So, y'all, there we go. So what we learned today is all this news about R. Kelly's chief of staff, which y'all have said, Atmos, she not the chief of staff, she just a record executive. Okay, fine. So they got it wrong in the paperwork that she was a, chief of staff. At least this chief of staff or executive will not be testifying against P. Diddy. Period. Rose Flower, what up? Wow, a documentary of lies. Indeed. Dre said what they lacked in R. Kelly is they all did it within organization acting in conjunction to commit a crime knowingly, and also that forced labor does not consist of sexual acts. Okay. Diddy was calling and going to RSK studio. We read that from the trial. Man, this is crazy, y'all. So y'all listen. That's the show. That's the show. Hopefully we all learned the truth today. So if you see anything else out there that says, oh my God, she's going to testify against him, it's a damn lie. Just say, go to Atmos Love Zone and watch. And he read the actual paperwork. Period. Okay? That's why we read the paperwork over here. So y'all can know the truth. No allegations. She said there is no way she would ever testify against P. Diddy. She didn't see nothing. She didn't hear nothing. She don't know Lil Rod. She was never there with him. She's only been in his house 4 times, Puff Daddy house 4 times, and all 4 for her business. She don't even know nothing about no parties, never been in no party other than one celebration for him and his Lifetime Achievement Award at BET. Those are the facts. And on that note, I'm getting out of here. I love y'all. I'll holler at y'all later. Please, I can't even tell y'all to hit the like button. Y'all are just on fire today. So just thank y'all for coming in. I appreciate y'all. Peace out.